Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we're live again today. Our episode 3 of Reboot for the Rebound, kind of business in the digital marketing. And we're Blue Ascension. I'm Andrew.
I'm Cara. Hello.
And we're excited to be here today. And
We are.
today we're going to talk a little bit about Google Analytics and how it's set up and what it can do for you in your business.
Yeah. And from a non-tech perspective, demystifying it and taking the fear out of it. Because it doesn't have to be scary and it can give you so much goodness. So we're going to dive in.
Yeah. And kind of to start, kind of one of the fun things really I enjoy with Google Analytics is really, we do so much work to, promote our businesses and our good content. And, we work with a lot of clients and helping drive traffic and interested people for their products to their websites. And, it's really good to really see, the results and how those are kind of coming online. And it's exciting to always see them, the metrics themselves. But I think we're going to talk about a little bit about what the story that those metrics do for your business and how you can actually take some of those numbers and use them or kind of work with them to, get better results, I guess is a good way to put it. So,
yeah.
I found an old quote a while back, and it said, Peter Drucker quote, and it said, what gets measured gets managed. And so if you don't know how things are doing, it's really hard to,
Yeah. No, that's so true, Andrew, because all the data, marketing is data, but owning a business is data. And when you take the power of that data and really look at it and see how it can help your customers, then there's so much that you can learn and improve your business. But when we're just shooting in the dark or guessing or doing things because they seem cool or whatever, but there isn't any data to back it up, then you just don't know if that's really working. So Google Analytics is a great way to see how things are performing and what people find interesting about your business online.
Yeah, and we were just having a conversation today about, lots of different initiatives that we're diving into. And, as you start to focus on multiple initiatives, it's really good to see how things are doing so that you are not wasting your time. And as I think one of the most important assets that we have as we go forward is our time and making sure that we use the best use of it. So I think that's a good use of that. So let's kind of dig in. And everybody joining us today, be sure to put your comments below where you're from. And if you have any questions as we're going through, definitely love to hear your insights and what you're looking in and how you use analytics or you use the data to help you drive your business, or even if you have it hooked in, that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people we talk to also, you hear that they have it installed or they're using it, but they never go in and look at it. So it's kind of, it's good to have the data coming in. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but like Cara was talking about, it's good to look at it. So.
Yep,
Right.
it is.
All right, so I'm going to pull up my screen here. And before we get started, I always like to, if I find something recent, I thought this would be fun to throw in here. And about when, get called for your tech support, we get called all the time. And the tech support, I don't think serves down. Okay, I'll take care of it. And then goes in and gives get a little attention.
Nice.
Sometimes websites need a little attention, a little love.
They do. A little love and caring, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Fun there. Okay, so this is Google Analytics. Cara had a really good question or a good kind of topic for today, and that was how does this get installed onto your site, and how does this look on and how does the data start coming into your Google Analytics? So first thing is, Google Analytics is free. So we are giving our data across. So I mean, I guess nothing's free, but it is free. There's no cost to it, and it's really robust. And there's a lot of good things that come out of it. And we're going to talk about a few of those today. So how does it get installed? And so basically, you can come into analytics.google.com and set it up. You will set up your account, and every account can have multiple properties. So if you think about a website, it is a property, and under your property has different views. And so not getting too deep into it, we kind of your initial property is your website, and we're going to be looking at the older version of analytics today because that's really the I would call it the kind of current version of it. There's a new version called Google Analytics 4 that we can take a look at and see kind of some new fancy stuff. But basically, it's still that kind of in beta mode. And most of our data that we're looking into today is in this universal analytics. So, you ready, Cara?
Ready.
All right.
Okay. Here we go.
So when we go in there, when you first get it installed here, you're going to get a tracking code. And this is a test account here. But basically, you grab this tracking code. And how does this code get onto your site? So when you have a website, we use WordPress a lot, and a lot of times you're going to be installing a widget, and a lot of times those widgets, then you can install Google Analytics depending on the widget you use. We are using a new updated theme called Cadence theme. We really enjoy it, and that has code injection, and you can actually do that in the theme itself, and there one less plugin to have. Yeah. Car hears from me all the time how many times we're updating plugins all the time. So
a lot.
So definitely less plugins the better. So we actually then use a tool called Google Tag Manager, and Tag Manager then can is one code. Then you can manage all your additional code like Facebook pixels and other ways to get tracking codes. And so in our case, we might have Universal Analytics as well as Google Analytics 4, and that could be from the same tag manager, and we go through. So we're gonna not talk too much about that. So we're gonna kind of go more into how this data can really help you go through. So let's go back to our home screen here. And there's a lot going on here, just real fun. We have 18 users on the site right now. You can see the first view kind of shows you, you can kind of just get an overview, how many people in the last few days, different channels, and we'll talk a little bit about this, where they're coming from, different times of the days, and the darker is, you can kind of see when people are coming to your site, as well as other metrics, including if you have e-commerce set up on your store. So the first question we like to think is how's the traffic coming over time, and what are the main pages that are going to be coming at and looking at. So you have a website, you have multiple pages on your site, and the first thing is, what pages are they going to and what are they looking at? So today, I think a good goal here is what we're trying to get out is it's very, there's a lot going on here. And so if you can come up with 4 or 5 places you can look and look over time and not have too much to think about, but what is this data telling you? And we'll talk a little bit about that. So we're going to come over. This is, again, Google and Universal. And we're going to go to Site Content in all pages here. And so I like this view to start out with a little bit. And you can kind of see a good overview of your top pages. And we're going to talk a little bit about each of those things. But maybe we'll ask Cara your thought on the business side of this, and just looking at, the data from your perspective and what this means to you from a business perspective.
Yeah. And again, this is looking at your your business website, and this is showing where people are, the pages they find most interesting, that they're hitting the most. So you can look at this from a content perspective, not just numbers, and where people are going a lot, see what that content's about. And if you can produce more content that's has the same kind of information that people really like. It also tells you what pages are not being viewed, and kind of wondering if you think you have a really good page that would be valuable to your customers and they're not going there, why is that? And it also shows you, not to get into the weeds too much, it also shows you if you have funnels set up, where things are tracking into. So just taking like a high level look at all this data, it's telling you how your website is performing and what your users are seeing as the most interesting content.
Yeah, and that's a good lead in. And so I would say, Cara hit on a really good point here, and one of those points are that think about your website as kind of a funnel or a leading or a trail somewhere. And again, they come into a certain page. They might come in from a link on a social media post or an account, or it might be a email that you sent out. So they go to a page, and then they hit this page, and then do they like it or not? And where are you leading them within the content to the next page? And we'll kind of show kind of what to look at. So once they hit this page, we can kind of see from here page views, and then unique page views. Unique's little more refined, but we really look at time on page, how long, how in general, all these people that came by, how long have they do they spend on that page in general? And of course, the higher the better. You want them on your page as long as possible to read your content, and also ultimately click through and go to the places that you want to lead them to and provide value to them as well. And the other thing is this bounce rate, and this bounce rate is the higher is not as good, so the lower bounce rate better. So it means that if it's 50%, this is saying that out of all these people, 50% left right away, or 49% in this case. So as if it's 100%, that's saying 100% of the people that came to this page left right away. So that's a bad thing. So the higher numbers here, as you start to see, you might see pages that somehow people are finding or searching for your content that they're finding, and it's not really hitting them or providing value where they thought they were. And so that could be bad. And additionally, that tells Google that the content that you're looking for is really not found on your site, and then you get lower ratings and less people see your or can search for your content. So definitely that's something to look at. And again, the lower the number is a good sign. The higher number means maybe look at that content and really look at the keywords and the things that you're putting in there, and how are people finding your page. Exit, the percentage, this is percentage people left on that page. And then page value, if you have there's a little other places that might have a little better metrics here, but if you have e-commerce hooked in here, you can kind of see a little more data there. So I think that's the first one, is really just your site content. All pages really kind of just tells you what's going on here. Another thing we like to do, a little tip here, is to block out monthly traffic. And one of the things we do for ourselves and for our clients sometimes is that we might pull out a specific month, and then we would put that in a spreadsheet, and then we might do it for specific pages or total page views or unique page views for that month, as well as then we may compare it to a previous period or a previous year, for example. Hey, last year, what happened? How was our traffic last year? It looks like pretty close, or if you have a lot of traffic this year, a lot of traffic, there's a lot of things going on in the world, but there might be some reasons behind that. So definitely this can tell you a lot of information, especially over time as well. Right, Cara?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and it can be very interesting to compare same periods over years or same like different periods but different different categories of that.
Right, exactly. Or from the month to month, right? We might say,
Right,
okay, we,
exactly.
this month, and then let's do, the month of January, and then you
Yeah.
can kind of see, hey, how is it trending over time? And of
Exactly.
course, you can pull bigger report or bigger time periods, and you look at a bigger time to kind of see trends as well.
Right.
Maybe a lot of times too, what we do, if you have a trend or you have a peak and you know what happened, maybe we had some campaigns, maybe we ran ads. There's a lot of things that I think you can actually go in here and you can actually leave a comment and annotation, and you can say at this time I ran an ad, and so you have those little notes in here. So
Right.
definitely, if you find trends or you're running a specific campaign or you're driving a lot of traffic, that's a good place to go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to so that's kind of the first page or place that we usually go, and the other thing, last thing from this page is you can actually drill down to specific pages, and then from there we could actually look at navigation and see where are people coming, or where are people coming from, what are the main pages that are people coming from, and then from this page where are the most places people coming to you. So you can kind of see, like Cara mentioned, different funnels and how are they kind of navigating through your site, and that can be kind of a fun little approach. And again, you just click on the page and then there's a little navigation summary above here. So let's go to the next question, Cara.
All right.
Landing pages. So landing pages is the next kind of concept here. And again, the landing page really is every page is, you may go to your home page and then go to your contact us page or an about us page, right? But you may have a link somewhere that says goes straight to your about us page or a sales page.
Exactly.
And so another way to look at this is site content and go to landing pages. It's a little different view, but ultimately the nice thing about this is because this is similar data, with sessions, bounce rates, but also I like to look at these, especially if you have e-commerce set up, and you can say how many transactions have hit from that page. So if they came out that page and then they ultimately bought, you can kind of see which pages are driving the revenue and how much revenue is coming through these pages. So that's definitely helping you put one-to-one for your sales. And if your campaigns are coming directly here, how are they relating to how much sales you have? Let's see. And from here, the other thing, and this Cara I know has some really good thoughts on this. We were talking about this earlier. Is then how do these landing pages? How do these landing pages get found, and how do people find these landing pages? So the other kind of concept we're going to go into a little bit is called how leading and how they're led to your website. And one of the things that you hear a lot of these terms called keywords. And Cara is a content master, and she likes to write a lot. And definitely, you're writing content based on certain concepts or ideas, or things that. But also, people ultimately then are searching for things. So if you are trying to build something and you say how to, use a hammer, you're going to go to Google and type in, how to use a hammer.
Right.
So what's your thought on keywords, Cara, and how you build these into your concept of content and getting those
Yeah.
into the pages?
Yeah, you bet, Andrew. And it is Yeah, content and keywords is a very big field, but to be really simple about it, it's writing good content with keywords of what that content is all about. So Google really likes to see if your content's about how to use a hammer, you're going to use how to use a hammer in a nice way in the first sentence and put it really up front to the content. So Google sees that, it sees it's relevant. Use the word hammer throughout your content because it is about how to use a hammer. It's if you can link to other things, that's always nice to like industry standard publications on how to use a hammer. That will get you some more information as well. But using a keyword, we hear a lot about SEO and it's this big mysterious algorithm and things. And it is, and algorithms are always changing. But at the end of the day, I really believe as a content developer that good content that's rich, it's full of information that's related to your subject line of that piece of content is really going to drive Google and make Google very happy and make the more important thing is make your users happy and your customers happy, because one of the most frustrating things is to see you Google something, you see something that looks really applicable, you go to it and it's like that's about dog food, not about hammers. And that's when you get those bounce rates that are like microscopic. They go and then get really frustrated, and that helps or doesn't help your Google rating as well. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about keywords and content, but at the end of the day, it's writing good content and using the words about that topic in your header, in your tagline, and all that. So
Right, and
yeah,
that's an art in itself.
it is.
But ultimately, I think you hit on a really important point that content marketing really is providing value and providing content that's going to, take care of a need of someone online.
Yeah.
And in a realistic way, as you have content on your website in a basic marketing driven website, at the lowest level is you're providing something, a service of something on your website that people are going to come to, and then ultimately you want to sell them a service, or maybe drive them or take them to another place, or maybe just give them a value without taking them anywhere. But ultimately, as you do more business, the more good content you have on your site and it's related to your area of your website, you're going to drive more traffic to your site. And like Kara's talking about, ultimately you can have blogs, you can have articles, you can have white papers, and that then will drive more people to your site. And then ultimately you may have an offer or other things you want them to do from there. So this is an important concept, and this is how it plays out on your site. So let's look at about this real quick. So this is acquisition. So this is saying, hey, how are people coming in and what are they coming in for? And this is a fun example. So this is the Google merchandise store, and over the last few months here, people are typing some type of search word that's coming in here that says dino game. So I did a fun search. I'm like, okay, dinosaur game merch. Top one comes up, Google store. Great. That's exactly where we're at. So we go at that and we see this fun little t-shirt and the little dinosaur with his little arms, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll get a look at it on there. Right.
Yeah.
But and it's a fun little t-shirt, so I can see what people probably play this little game, and you say, oh, you can buy it, and they go on and search for Google, and now you can see they search for that, and that's what drove them to this page, and you can see the impressions, click-through rate, and then how much percent of the people that came to the page or these impressions actually came through and then went to a conversion here, or click through to where you want them to go. Right. So again, you can kind of see some examples here for the Google merchandise store, but I think this is a really nice example here. So So I guess the second, kind of wrapping that part up, is the second thing is the landing pages, where they're coming from, and or where they're hitting on your page, and what keywords they're driving. I think I had one more thing. Oh, so you may, so this is, if you click on acquisition and search console queries, is really where this page comes in. So most people, just one quick tip here, is most people, these words will not be in your analytics. And one of the things that we can do a future thing on this, but one of the things you have to have hooked in is this thing called the Google Search Console. So Google likes you to have all your data, but this provides value too as well. So you really can hook into Google Search Console. It's another free service. You register your website. There's a way to register it. We'll go over that another time. And then once you register it, then you hook in to Google Analytics, a link from your Google Analytics to your Google Search Console, and then your data will have more data inside of it, and thus provide you these queries. So it's something to think about. So if you don't see this, you can always go to your go to here and make sure you hook in your Google Search Console. And right here is the Search Console. You hook it in here. This is just a test account here, but there's lots of tutorials online for that. So let's go on to number 3, Cara. What do you think?
Let's do.
A lot of stuff on just all this data, huh?
A lot, yeah.
Another fun thing is Cara noted, people getting frustrated online, and how do you know that people are frustrated on your site? So maybe what's your idea of searching on? Do you search inside of websites if they have a search function, or if you're looking for something?
What's your thought on that? Yeah, I do a lot of organic searching through Google, just typing in something to Google. And once I do get on a website, if it's a really content-rich, depth-driven website, I love it when they have a search console. If they don't, I'll just poke around the nav and see if I can find what I want to see. But I definitely use organic search as well.
Yeah, again, there's search from Google or Yahoo or other search
Bing,
engines.
Yep.
But we're talking searching within your website. And some websites have it activated. It's like a little magnifying glass. And WordPress itself has an engine. You can also add have some extra widgets that kind of refine those searches. But basically what that does is then it's searching all the content on your site and helping them find the content within your site.
Yeah.
So this demo account doesn't really have that hooked in, but how does that search come through? Is that you will find out what pages they're hitting, and then you can find out what search terms they're putting in, and then you can find out what they're maybe frustrated. So if there's a lot of search on specific pages, then you'll see that. Again, this one doesn't have it, but that maybe these are terms that are frustrating you or your users, and so those are opportunities for you to maybe add some additional links or content on your site that will help people, or maybe you have a better way to help people find it in your site. So I think searches are pretty good, and you definitely, there's a little setup there. But it's not too difficult once you get that going.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good point, Andrew, because you can look at the search console results, and your potential customers might be looking for something really specific, and you might have that exact thing, but it's not on your website, or it's not pulled up to a level where they can really find it. So that's just like gold. That's telling you, the beautiful thing about that is telling you exactly what your customer wants. And when you can provide that, bingo. So that data point right there is super important.
Right, what they're searching for. And you had a good point, is what they might be searching for externally to get to your site. And then if they're then not finding it on that page, the landing page they hit, then Once they search for that, are they finding it within your site? And if not,
Mm-hmm.
do you provide it? And if not, if you are, how do you you can look at the landing pages they hit in the searches and then kind of help refine them and
Mm-hmm.
help them get to the data or to the content they need. So
Yeah.
good thought there. So we talked a little bit about pages coming in, a little more refined in the landing pages. We talked a little bit about search data from your search console coming in and finding those keywords and those queries that are finding. We talked a little bit about searching internally on your own site. And then I think the other big one is acquisition. And really, the thing about this is when traffic is coming into your site from outside, it's usually a link, a search. Where is this traffic coming from? And this is probably the most, one of the most important pieces of content that you can find in your analytics here. So this is amazing stuff. So it's a lot of the same data you'll see, and there's a lot of really good stuff here, and I'm going to go through it just a little bit, and then maybe I want to get Kara's insight on this. But you definitely have users and new users. So users might come in multiple times, or new people coming in, sessions, and then bounce rate. We talked about bounce rate earlier. Pages, average pages per session. The higher this is, the better. So if they're coming in from a specific source and they hit a lot of the pages on your site on average, that means those are users that are interested in your content. And again, same thing here. If you look at all these here, what is the ones that are driving the most time on your site? And lastly, which is really nice too, is that you can also sort by revenue if you have e-commerce hooked in, and so that you actually are seeing which sources of traffic is providing you the most money.
Right.
And the other things that you'll notice is that that you can refine this data by adding to refinements of this, so you can see if you have specific campaigns, ads, links from external sources. You can actually help refine this data by providing good links to your site. And then if that's driving traffic, then you know that, hey, I have a little insight of where my customers are coming from. So let's look a little bit about that. So we talked about the data over here, but what is the source medium here? So the source is where it's coming from in a way, and the medium is the kind of I don't know, the vehicle or here.
Yeah.
So here's a good example. I have a few different ways that we do it, and what we do is we have we provide our links with a thing called a UTM code. And so if you have a link to your site and it's example.com, you can actually, there's lots of ways to create this. There's tools, you can do it manually, but you put some codes at the back of your link and you say UTM, and this is the medium is like I said, the vehicle we're coming, and the source is where it's coming from. So we may have an email newsletter. Kara's doing a newsletter and we're sending that out, and we then have a link in there that sends people saying, hey, check out our latest article. And then in that link you might put this medium equals email and source equals newsletter. You could even have, there's other additional things you can put in. You can put, spring newsletter, whatever you want. But it's nice to show that now, like we do this for clients, that, hey, we do a newsletter, and then if you put those links in there, then when you actually show traffic in here, you can actually see that you'll see, hey, this came from the newsletter, and we can see attribution of the work that we did or the links that they're coming from to your website. So I know we do this a lot, and this is one of our things, but what's your thought on
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
data right
UTM
here?
Right. UTM codes are, again, a really powerful way to get information about how effective your campaigns are being used. So, like Andrew said, we use these a lot in newsletters. So, say we have a client newsletter and we have a link to their, say it's a lodging site, they're a B&B. So, we have a link in the newsletter to their their place where you can book their accommodations, book their room. So we'll put a UTM link on that. So we can tell then that 25 people in that newsletter clicked on that link and booked a room. So then we can give that client that data that this newsletter gave you 25 new nights stayed booked through the website, that kind of thing. So you can get really creative with UTM links. The one caveat though is if you also do things on Facebook, you cannot use a UTM link. Facebook will, I don't even know if they'll let you use a UTM link.
You can
have
use
to
it, they just don't like
Okay.
it.
They won't show it to anybody. It'll be like your normal traffic that Facebook reaches on with a normal link will be this big, and if you use a UTM, it'll be like this big. So just that's a little caveat.
Yeah, and shortened links. I think that's
And
the
shortened
shortened
links
links
as well.
they really don't like those shortened links, which
Yeah.
is another
Yes.
way to add tracking code, and Facebook really kind of discourages as much as possible, especially the shortened tracking links. But
Yeah.
that's another topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Car talked about newsletters, so another one, and she mentioned a lot of times we added special links in our. For example, you might have an Instagram link on your Instagram page, and
bio
you only
link.
get one
Yeah.
link, or you can create a bio link page that has these. But then we put source equals Instagram, so you know that hey, this traffic came from Instagram. Facebook itself actually puts its own UTM in there, so it's nice because you'll see if
Yeah.
traffic's coming from Facebook as well. So that's not a bad one.
It's true.
And I guess another one is your ad campaigns, and that's really important to
Yes.
have those in there. That's one place Facebook doesn't mind you putting that stuff in there, and it actually has tools for you to add that. But you might have the specific ad, and you can add additional parameters in there. So you could say add 1, add 2, add 3, add 4, and you can see how much traffic is driven in, and ultimately, hopefully, you're selling something to pay for that traffic because you're or pay for those ads.
Right.
But a lot of power here, and definitely the other thing is you can use anything you want in your UTM links. So I would say just one tip is just be consistent, and your data over time will have a lot of good stories to tell you how you go. So
Yeah.
good talk
Yeah.
there, Carno, on that one. So we talked about pages coming in, looking at the general traffic to the pages. We talked about the landing pages. We're talking a little bit about the queries and the keywords that are coming in, and as well as the now we talked about the acquisition of that traffic to your page, and where's the attribution or where's the source of that traffic. So
Right.
ultimately, and maybe, I think to end here, we have one more kind of topic here, a bonus topic here, but ultimately, we all have websites, and why do we have websites, and what's the main purpose of those? I know it's a long vision and a goal here, but what's your thought on that, Cara, here?
In the big scheme, a website is like a, yeah, kind of corny, but it's kind of your Yellow Pages ad, if you remember the Yellow Pages. So it's your presence in the world. You exist. You're a legitimate business, that kind of thing. So it's, if nothing else, it's a proof of being that you are a business and legit and real. Because if you meet somebody at a marketing group or something and you say, what's your website? I don't have a website. And it just gives you that, like, well, maybe you're not really serious yet, or you're just brand new and all that. So the other point of a website, and we really believe in making it a marketing driven website. So putting in things that's going to help people use your business and find you better and that kind of thing, and opt-ins. And that's a whole nother conversation. But a website is really to help people know more about your business, and at the very end, do business with you and become a long-term customer.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I like to, your second point there about a marketing driven website, like a lot of people, whether it takes a lot of time to set up a website or you pay somebody like Blue Ascension, we're happy to build you a website.
We are.
But ultimately, it's there to help people understand more about your product and your services, and then remove some of the trust value, or provide more trust and remove some of those barriers so that they feel more comfortable in knowing you. And there's always that what to know, where to go, what to try, and how to buy, right? And then kind of go of
exactly.
How do you get to know the person? Yeah. What are they looking for? Can you help them find what they're looking for?
Yeah.
How do they find it? Where to go? What pages do you want to send them to? What links do you want to send them to? What to try? What are you recommending? And how are you helping them remove those barriers? And then what to buy. Ultimately, we want to give them those services and those things that you're doing. So ultimately, all this data is to refine that one concept, right? Audience engagement, leads, and conversions. We want to get them to buy your services and share your value because they're searching for it because they want to solve a problem, I guess. So
exactly.
That's so I think me and Cara are saying the same thing in two different ways, and that's the beauty of these kind of discussions is we all have a big perspective of this whole ball here. So. So lastly, I think the way to think about it is that we talked about all this data, and ultimately one way to think about this is that we all have goals. We have goals in life, we have goals for the week, we have goals in here, but we also have goals for our website. And the way, over the last years that, it's really nice to think about goals on your website and where ultimately do you want to send people to your do you want to send them to your sales page, and ultimately not just send them to your sales page, you want them to click on the product, buy the product, and then they complete their order? Or do you want to send them to your newsletter and then they sign up to your newsletter, and then you send them the newsletter and then they sign up to your order page and then they buy this thing, or they call you, right? If you're getting leads for your business and your service business, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is definitely there's ways to do this, but in general there's no goal set up. So you as a business owner and a website person need to say, hey, I need to what is my goals? And you can have short-term and long-term goals, but a few general ones are sign up to your newsletter, right? So somebody like Cara can help write this amazing newsletter, and then you can get people to the next goals, right? Or you want people to get to your order page or sign up for your event, or lots of different things you can do there. So think about it's either an event that happens, and when an event could be a click on a link, it could be a purchase, and then you take them to a purchase page. In the old days, goals are usually set up with either a trigger event, and you need to set some of that up through for more complex stuff through Google Tag Manager, or if you set up a funnel, as Cara talked about earlier, those funnels can be set up, and then once you hit a certain stage of the funnel, that could be like that could be the basket is for example here you can see that's a certain page on the website. So they put something in the basket. So these are stages of a goal,
right?
And you can kind of see these stages as they go through. So it's a little more complex than that, but ultimately you can kind of see how, of course, order complete is kind of the long-term vision you want to go in. So think about a goal for your site. If you have a goal, or maybe your goal is to set up analytics. So this is a good place to start today. And as a lot of people do, is you set up analytics, and do you actually go through and use it and look at it and maybe answer those 5 questions we talked about today, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And my biggest suggestion as a not terribly technical person is to make it just a habit, a weekly habit, to go look at your analytics block out half an hour. Don't get overwhelmed with it, and just go look at it and start poking around, playing around. And like Andrew said, and we've talked about in this stream, is have like the 5 questions that you want to look at every week, and just start really getting familiar with that. So it's not any big deal. You just go and look at your data and just start. And the more familiar you can become with it, the more I think really fun it's going to be. Like, oh, look, that did really well, or that didn't do as well as I thought, and why is that? And then the data will start telling stories about your business, and not fiction. It'll be nonfiction, like real time, real people, how your website's performing. So have fun with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I tend to think the same way. I personally really enjoy going into analytics and looking at it and seeing the story and the work that we do and see how it converts to people coming over time.
Yeah.
And over time, that your time and energy of adding more content adds in, and how does that help your site find more people, and how are they finding it? And so if they're searching for things, then maybe that gives you insights into new ideas or new products that you maybe want to sell.
Exactly.
So I would say, kind of to add on to what Kara said, is that ultimately we don't get so wrapped up into there's nothing in general. Once you get it set up, you can click around and click every button. There's nothing really to break after a certain point. It's just data coming in from your site. Right. So really look around. Don't be afraid. Answer the questions, and definitely don't have fun with it. And ultimately, there's other products that can help you refine some of that data. One thought, and a lot of new products that are coming out, or not new, but a lot of products that come out add additional insights where you can hook your analytics directly. You create a link from those. Like there's SEO tools and search, like search rank math or things like that, where it adds a lot more bulk into your site, and you get little pretty graphs and things like that. But ultimately, sometimes that makes your site more heavier. But they also do other things like help you refine your keywords and maybe track keywords over time and your position on your research results. But ultimately, just not getting so wrapped up into the numbers and getting freaked out about it, but really enjoying that you have a business, you're providing value to people, and the website's just a tool to answer those questions, like you said, Cara.
Yep. Yeah. So we hope this has helped demystify Google Analytics, because it really is your friend as a business owner with a good website. Yep.
And we just kind of went through 5 of the questions. There's might be more. There's a lot, there's more refinement, and there's ways to hook it in. There's ways to install it. You still need how to use Google Search Console. How do you hook it in through Google Tag Manager? There's a lot of technical things to do, and if that's something of interest, be sure to add it in the comments or let us know, and we'd be happy to kind of dig down into those deeper. But ultimately, this is a good place to start. It's pretty lightweight, and it will help you, start your journey into measuring, so you can then take action on that. So
exactly.
All right. So as always, we're Blue Ascension. You want to tell us a little about what we do?
Cara. You bet. Is that the Andrew? That's Cara. Yes. We're a full-service digital marketing agency based in San Luis Obispo, California, on the Central Coast. Yeah. And we love building marketing-driven websites for our clients, and digital marketing, newsletter, email marketing, videography, creating videos, custom videos, some custom graphics. So we look at ourselves as partners with our clients. So you're not just a number, you're not just we give you the same package. So we really like working with our clients, and their success is our success. That's how we look at it.
Exactly. And then, you can look at my screen, but I got Hypnotoad. He's coming up here, but Hypnotoad said
Exactly.
follow us on our social media account, and either it's Hypnotoad or Jamcat. So we're having
Either
a little
one.
fun,
Yep.
and have a great week and weekend.
Yes.
It's the weekend.
Yes.
It's Friday.
Have
So
a great weekend.
have a great
Yes.
weekend, and we will see you soon. We got some more
Yes.
exciting episodes along the way, including
We do.
a new version as well. So we're going to talk more, or a new program as well. So
We do. Yes.
have a great weekend, and we're out.
All right. Ready? Take care.